Hello and welcome back to another Black Women Self Care Bundle expert interview. And today we have Dr. Diane Gaston with us. She is one of our ambassadors, and this interview series is really spotlighting and highlighting the women who are really dedicated and committed to Black women's self care. And so today, Dr. Diane and I are going to have a great conversation about who she is, what she brings to the conversation, and the resource that she is contributing to the bundle, which I hope that you'll go to blackwomenselfcarebundle.com and that you will get on the list. You will also be able to go and claim the resources. And great thing about it is they're free. They're free to you to claim. And so let's get into the conversation. Thank you, Dr. Diane, for being with us. Please introduce yourself. What do you do? Who do you serve? And how long have you been doing this?
Hey Samantha, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited to just have this conversation about one of my favorite topics that are needed for Black women, and that's around self-care. But my name is Dr. Diane Gaston. I also go by Dr. Diane Marie. I am a educator, I'm a facilitator, I'm a mom, I'm a coach. I do all of the things as many of us Black women do. I have been my work surrounds helping women who are looking to reconnect with themselves, women that are looking to find themselves in the midst of everything it is that they have been through. Many times, many of the different things that we take on as women, we tend to lose ourselves. And one of the things that I specialize in, or really my work centers around self restoration, creating spaces for women to reflect, to heal, to grow, and to eventually reconnect with themselves.
That. And how long have you been doing this? And what got you into this kind of work?
Wow, I've been serving and supporting others for well over 19 years now. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but through my work in higher education, through my work as a professor, as well as an advisor, I've always been drawn to helping others navigate those challenges that they're going through in their lives. And I feel like what really has led me to this work was really my PhD program because I've always been the one to help others grow through their problems. I earned a PhD in conflict resolution. It was during that time that I realized that a lot of the issues that we have tend to start with the internal issues that we have within ourselves. Being in a program as diverse as conflict resolution, as students, we were taught a lot about why countries are at odds, why leaders may be at odds. But then when I really look back at it, I'm just like, conflict really stems from how that person is feeling, whether it's about themselves, really internally, and that can often spill into conflicts that we have with other people, other relationships that are existing in our lives. So that's really what drew me to this work. In addition to just my own overall experiences, my own self growth, and knowing that in order for you to be who it is that you truly want to be, the desires that you have for yourself, it's so important that we do the work, that individualized work. And once we are aware of some of the stuff that's internal that we don't deal with, that we often avoid, then that's when we can really begin to see those changes in our lives. So that's what really
Mm,
me to this work.
okay, I love that. And I think you hit on something so important, which I think it boils down to conflict boils down to self-worth,
Yes.
and whether or not you've actually done the work to your sense of self-worth and being willing to face the truth about where you are and how you project yourself and your sense of self-worth or lack thereof into the world through via conflict. So that's really profound.
Yes. It's kind of that saying that goes, hurt people.
Yes.
And we can often see that, like sometimes too, when I'm observing someone going through something, I'm just like, who hurt you? You have a lot of unhealed issues that have nothing to do with what you think your issue is in the moment. It's underlying things that have affected your perspective, that have
Mhm.
affected how it is that you process certain things that's going on in your life. And awareness is everything. And we'll talk a little
Yes.
bit more about that in regards to the resource, but let's continue the conversation. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So when you hear the word self-care, what does that mean to you?
self care. Self care is intentionality, self care is restorative, self-care is sustainable. And I think for me, what really transformed the idea of just the term self-care, because we'll talk too about how that term can kind of often be like convoluted, but self-care is really something that should be self-restorative. How is it that we kind of get back to self? How is it that we restore the feelings that we want to have in our lives? And for me, self-care became really sacred. And we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yes. Awesome. And why do you believe this self-care is especially important for Black women? And what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen Black women facing when it comes to prioritizing self-care?
As Black women, we do too much. We really do. And it's no fault of our own. And maybe it kind of is because I feel like society has kind of taught us that, especially with social media, we need to be over functioning. If you don't have 17 side hustles going on, what are you doing with your life? As opposed to taking a break, pausing, reflecting, and finding out what really fuels us as opposed to what we're being told should fuel us, or this is what our focus should be on. I think many of the challenges that women face, especially Black women, is the guilt of devoting ourselves to other people as opposed to the guilt of devoting time to ourselves as opposed to other people, especially if you're a mom, especially if you're a caregiver. We take on these responsibilities, especially if we play any sort of active roles in our communities in terms of leadership. We feel like our time belongs to other people. Who is it that we can serve as opposed to how is it that we serve ourselves?
Absolutely. And that I think is crucial for us to, I think, admit. I think we recognize it, but can you admit this is what's happening? Can you really be honest with yourself about where you're being stressed thin, where you are giving yourself away on a daily basis, and the impact that it's having on your life? I think that's where a lot of us are stuck. That's in
Yeah,
that space honesty about this is what's happening to me and this is the challenge and why self-care it does not become an integral part of my life.
absolutely. I think too, when we think about some of the challenges that Black women face with just really caring for ourselves, is I think for me, it's believing that, in my experience, is believing that rest has to be earned as
Mhm.
opposed to rest being deserved. We often think too, okay, I earned this vacation. Yes, you earned a vacation. You also deserve a vacation. Many of us don't really go on vacations that often. Many people
Right.
take years before they go on a vacation, or opportunity has to present itself in order for someone to take advantage of rest. But as opposed to, for me, I think reframing self care to be something that is intentional, something that we actually plan. You can plan a vacation and let that be your restoration. But you, just as much as you might feel like you earned it, and we all earn vacations, right? But we deserve it. We deserve that time to experience joy, to experience rest, relaxation, to experience all of the joys and wonders of the world, exploring the earth and the beautiful different countries. And yeah, I'm a resort girl. I love me a nice resort. So for me, I
Yes.
just to be at that resort, right? I didn't just earn it, but I deserve to be here because I
Yes.
value my care, because I know that I can't pour into my son if I'm not pouring into myself and other
Mhm.
responsibilities that I have as well.
Yes, that's such a crucial difference, and I'm a resort girly myself. I'm like, give me a spa or resort any day of the week. What are some of the myths and misconceptions about self-care that we really need to let go of so that we can allow that part to self-care to be a natural, normal part of our lives?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to what I mentioned before, is that feeling like self-care is something that we should earn, that it's something
Mhm.
that has that one finite moment in the year that, oh, this is when I'm gonna do self-care. But to be honest, Samantha, I also often feel like we've kind of turned self-care into a shopping list. Because,
Yep.
like, times 2 people there at, yeah, I get it, you're at the spa day, you might do your spa-like experience at home, you got your candles, you got your bubbles, you got your wine, your mimosa, but then it's or you attend the spa, but it's like for me, once you leave the spa, you just go right back to abandoning yourself, what has changed? What did you get from that? or even taking a couple of hours to go get your nails done, enjoy some time with friends. All of that is self restorative, all of that is nurturing. But then, too, we have to be intentional about why it is that we're doing it. I'm not just going to the nail salon because I got my standing appointment every Friday at 3 o'clock,
Mhm.
but what is it doing for you? So I think some of the myths are also re examining, why am I doing the stuff that I'm doing and calling it self care? But is it really caring for me? How am I being changed because of this one practice or ritual habit that I'm doing? But how is
Mhm.
it restoring my sense of self? It's good for me. I love a good walk in the park because I feel like, you know what? If I feel like I'm about to crash out, let me go walk in the park. Because
Right.
being outdoors, being amongst trees, I love looking at the moss, the Spanish moss that are coming off the trees and just reflecting. I have this thing that I do now where I'll go out on my balcony in the mornings and I have this tree and it has beautiful flowers on it. And every morning I notice the bees are doing a bee thing, they pollinating or whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
And as opposed to being trained growing up to be afraid of bees, it's just wow, like nature is just so beautiful. Look at the
Mhm.
bees just doing their thing. They ain't worried about me. They ain't worried about stinging me. They just doing their thing. And just to take the moment and to just appreciate something like that for what it is, I can come back inside my house and feel, "Okay, I'm ready for the day."
Absolutely. I think that's so important to differentiate the pampering experiences that we have that can be restorative and those moments where you're just in the moment and
Yeah,
you're able to appreciate everything around you and appreciate yourself so that the mindset of
yeah,
rest, earning care, which I think it has been so connected to work. We automatically, like you said, the earning piece,
yeah.
you know, we gotta earn our vacation time. We gotta earn the hours, and we as we look at our paycheck every payday and we see how much vacation time we've earned. And I think that's the root of where this mindset comes from. And not to mention systemically, historically, especially for Black women, where we've been labor. When you see a Black woman, that's labor, you know?
Yes.
And getting past that, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit more too, but I think when we are again, honest with ourselves about what's the root of it, of this idea that we have to earn rest and care for ourselves and get to the root of the systems that have continued to perpetuate this, and we continue to even believe in that narrative that this is how it should be, when the reality is, as a human being, we all need rest, period. In a discussion. There's nothing else.
We do. I grew up loving me a good nap, and now it's hard for me to get a nap in, but
Mhm.
we do need our rest, and especially I go through my bouts of insomnia where it's just, man, I would love to be asleep and stay asleep throughout the night and wake up feeling rested. But then it's like during those waking hours, what am I also kind of doing in the little minutes that I have throughout the day where let me just sit down, catch my breath, reflect, just do nothing. Let me not pick up my phone. Let me just literally sit down in my car and just either people watch or just have a thought about something. So
Exactly.
we really do need to re-examine and just question the narratives that we have overall about what rest is and really how
Mhm.
essential it is to our overall well-being.
Absolutely. So tell us about the resource you are contributing to the Black Women Self-Care Bundle. What is it and who is it designed to support?
All right, so I designed for this specific bundle the Sacred Reset, which is a six-part art audio guided just reflection. It isn't a meditation. It's just really you listening to me for about 10 minutes in your head, just guiding you through the sacred framework. So the sacred framework is something that I would do with the clients that I work with, and sacred is an acronym for seek, align, connect, reflect, evolve, and dedicate. And I have used that in various different ways through my coaching practice and also my working with students in a higher ed setting, But it's really about pausing, reconnecting, reflecting, and just really creating intentional rituals to bring you back to self. That, along with a reflective guide companion, I included to help with the audio series to just really allow you the extra space to just really reflect on some of the principles that I go through in the sacred framework.
Nice. What impact Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Like, it is designed for Black women because we do too much. I called it literally the secret framework reset for Black women who just do too much. And again, that's not to say it's a bad thing. I feel like naturally, that's just who we are. We've been taught to always function in survival mode, pushing through as opposed to pausing and reflecting. And I feel like in our community, we need so much more of slowing down and just reconnecting with ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that being said, I think that resource is amazing. I
Mhm.
think that, because we don't get a chance to reflect and just pause and slow down, not allow the, I guess, say rigmarole of life to continue keep you on this hamster wheel. So, ladies, if you are looking for a way to slow down, then absolutely download this resource by Dr. Diane and give yourself that space to reflect, to consider, hold it as a sacred experience for yourself because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And our spirits, our souls are crying out for you to just stop, rest, slow down, and give yourself a break so that you can restore yourself through this form of self care. So I thank you
Absolutely.
for this contribution.
No problem. I really enjoyed working on it because, again, it gave me a moment to sit down and reflect and be really intentional about the objectives and the goals that I wanted for this, for the woman that will engage in this. In the audio series, I remember talking about the R in sacred stands for reflect. And reflection is literally one of my favorite things. I often have people reflect all the time because with reflection comes you thinking about your experience and now turning that into wisdom, and how can you now grow from that. So for me, reflection is everything. And if we can just do that more as a society, as people, especially as Black women, and not be judgmental and give ourselves really grace to accept that, hey, God ain't finished with us. We're literally works in progress every day. I can also say that about myself. But once we really reflect, we can actually turn our experiences into wisdom to literally transform our lives.
Okay, thank you again for your wonderful resource. I know many women will be impacted by it. But beyond the resource, what other offers or programs, products that you currently have available?
I'm currently expanding on offering more digital products as well as an upcoming sacred retreat. It is something I'm getting into the retreat phase where I feel like I want more hands on group experience when it comes to really walking people and guiding people through the sacred framework. So, I do have some upcoming offerings through workshops as well as an upcoming retreat. So please stay tuned. You can follow me on Coach Diane Marie on Instagram, as well as going on to my website where you are able to sign up for my email listserv and find out the latest things that are happening with me.
Excellent. And I was going to ask you that how we can find you online and connect with you on your website and on Instagram that you just shared with us. So that's wonderful. Is there anywhere else that women can connect with you?
I didn't mention the website, but you can follow and connect with me on drdianemarie.com. That is my website. And there you'll also be able to find the latest happenings. And also you can read my blog and see other things that are going on with me.
Excellent. Awesome. So, what's one thing that you want Black women to remember as they continue caring for themselves, their families, and their work and their dreams?
Ooh, what a question. As I think about it, what comes to mind is really that returning to yourself is not a destination, it's more so of a practice. When I think about all of the challenging events that have happened in my life or the experiences that I've had in the past, what made me really realize how I was able to grow through them was my self-care practices. how I internalize them, how I also made them sacred to me, but really realizing that we are literally works in progress. Not who I was probably 2 weeks ago, right? The majority of me is, but there's always something that's happening in our lives that we can learn from and we can grow from. So I think just the awareness of that returning to ourselves is not one place in our
Mhm.
lives. It's not some place that we will stay throughout the remainder of our lives, but it's more so of a practice. And once we kind of dedicate ourselves to that practice, then that's when life becomes a little bit more easier to deal with. Life ain't easy, but it becomes a little bit more palatable. It becomes a little bit more light on our spirits.
Mhm. Awesome. Thank you for that. I know that this is like giving women, Black women specifically, permission to step into this space of self care as an intentional act, not just an escape hatch.
Yeah,
And I think that is something that a lot of us have been using self care for. It's like, let me escape my current situation. Let me run away. Let me find just a temporary reprieve. But if we can make it just an integral, intentional part of who we are in our lives, then and be decisive about it, I think that's going to really shift and change so many of our lives, and giving ourselves permission to do this on a consistent daily basis and make it a lifestyle choice.
absolutely. And that's what it's all about because once we kind of, and the D in sacred stands for dedicate. So once we
Mm,
kind of dedicate ourselves to that practice, then that's when we literally lighten up our souls.
yes.
Because again, it's our reward, but it's also refueling. It's that reconnection part that I spoke about. But it's so important that we have to intentionally decide to dedicate to those practices, to those rituals, in order for us to really see the value of them.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Dr. Diane Marie, for being with us, for being a part of the Black Women Self Care Bundle experience, for this interview as well. And we look forward to chatting with you on July 24th for our roundtable experience, that's International Self Care Awareness Day. So it's going to be at noon Pacific time, 3
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern time, so East West Coast. You
Yeah.
all can get involved, and that's a wonderful conversation where all of our ambassadors and I are coming together. We're going to have a chat about the importance of self care, specifically for Black women, and answer some of your questions as well. So we're looking forward to having you a part of that conversation on that day, Dr. Diane. And thank you all for listening to this interview, and thank you for going to the blackwomenselfcarebundle.com to sign up for the bundle. It is going to be available July 13th through the 31st. So you will have a chance to download the bundle, download the resources, or at least we call them claim your resources, because you absolutely deserve it. And we'll see you
Absolutely.
again next time.
Thank you.